Oh, hello again, citizens of YouTube. My name is Ed, this is the Rotgut Review, and today I'm reviewing a whiskey that's out of this world. That's right, today I'm reviewing Ardbeg Fermutation, Invasion of the Washbacks. But yes, this is the committee release of Ardbeg Fermutation. Every year, Ardbeg, that famous, wonderful Islay distillery known for its smoky, peaty whiskey, releases a special edition. And actually, two special editions. One is the committee release, and one is the standard release. But they always share a gimmick. And this year, the gimmick is actually really cool, because this year they played around with the fermentation. And I shouldn't say they played around with the fermentation so much as they had a happy accident, as Bob Ross would say. Alright, but before we get into the whiskey, can we talk about how rad Ardbeg's labeling is? I'm always saying that, whiskey needs to loosen up a little bit. We need to have some more fun with the labeling. And these guys do it so well. Like, they still have all the, kind of kitschy, twee Gaelic shit with the, like the lettering and all that. But then they have these cool cartoons, and they got the spaceships, and oh man, I geek out for this stuff. This is so cool, man. So to make whiskey, you first have to make beer. And that requires fermentation. That's the process whereby little yeasty beasties, all your little yeasty guys, get into your wort, the stuff that has the sugar from your grains, and they eat up all that sugar, nom 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 nom, and then they poot out alcohol. So that's your distiller's beer. It's literally a bunch of little yeast monsters eating up all the sugar, making alcohol, and then you can distill that into whiskey. So in Scotland, they ferment their beer in these big old wooden containers called washbacks, commonly made out of pine. In the case of whiskey, you usually only ferment for about 72 hours, maybe up to 90. You really don't need to go as long as, say, the craft beer crowd does, simply because a lot of the flavors that are going to be created later in the fermentation will be lost when you distill. So there's really no reason to go a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever, theoretically, because once you start boiling that to separate out the water, the process of distillation, you're going to lose a lot of those flavors that were created in that second week or later. But this Ardbeg doesn't follow that rule. Because of that happy accident I mentioned, their boilers broke. So they had 6 washbacks full of this fermenting beer that they couldn't distill. There was no way to keep it from, quote unquote, over fermenting. It was gonna go. So they had a choice. Either they could throw this stuff out and start anew, or they could let it go. They could let it sit in those washbacks, and they could open it up to the environment and see what happens. Now, there certainly is a history of open fermentation. Different beer styles use open fermentation. The first beer was definitely made with open fermentation, because somebody just let some grains sit in some water and wild yeast got into it. However, in the modern era, open fermentation is a little worrisome. People like to have control over what's going on in that washback. They want to know exactly what flavors are going to come out of it. By opening up those washback lids, you're introducing a strange and exotic world of all sorts of little alien microbes that might get into your distiller beer. See, that can be a scary thing, because you could get wild yeast in there, you could get all kinds of microbes in there. You don't know what flavors they might create. So not only did they open this up to the environment, the fermentation lasted 3 whole weeks. That's a lot longer than 72 hours. And during that time, it was absorbing all sorts of freaky stuff from the air. Now, after that fermentation, that beer was obviously distilled and then matured. So the question is, how much of that weird, freaky fermentation flavor, and fermentation adds a lot of flavor, let's be very clear about that, how much of it got into the final product? Well, I say, let's find out. And you know how it goes. We start with the nose. Alright, first things first, smoke. There's definitely smoke. Big, meaty, billowy smoke. And I would expect no less from an Ardbeg product. You know, if there's no smoke in an Ardbeg, is it really an Ardbeg? I'm looking at you in particular, Trevon. There's also a grassy note, kind of a green, fresh, grassy note. A touch of something a little bit more of that rubbery, burned, plasticky phenol kind of smell. I like that. It's not overpowering. Sometimes that really burned computer part smell can get a little excessive. I get a little bit of this here, but it's not bad. It's mostly that earthy smoke. Do I smell a touch of pine needle there? I didn't used to like pine needle. I didn't used to like pine needle in my whiskey. But it's grown on me. It's grown on me. A lot. So I think I'm digging this. There's also something like sugared orange slices in here. Like it's zesty and it's kind of citrusy, but they put a little layer of the crystalline sugar on top of the oranges, made it a little sweet. I will say there's a lot going on this nose. There's a lot of little itty bitty tingly elements. You know, the citrusy, the grassy, the vegetal, the smoky. There's a lot going on this nose. It's not quite the super powerful meaty smoke of a lot of Ardbegs. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I do like the really smoky, you know, heavy bacon fatty Ardbegs. I do. And there's still some of this here. There's also some interesting subtle notes though. There's some sort of fruit here. There's some sort of weird fruit here. I'm not sure what it is. It smells like a kiwi. Holy shit. Is that what this is? Oh my god, I don't think I've ever smelled a kiwi in whiskey before. I don't think I ever have. Ever. That's not a fruit I don't think I've ever gotten on a whiskey. It smells like a kiwi wrapped in a Hessian sack, like a wet Hessian sack. Kind of earthy, but also sweet. I dig it. Alright, let's get a taste, hey? Oh. Wow. Oh, wow. I dig that. It's got an interesting, it's definitely grassy. It's a little bit, actually, kind of seaweedy iodine-y, which is something I much more associate with Lefroy than I do with Ardbeg, but there's a touch of that. It's got this kind of strange barnyardy funk, but like, it's like a fresh barnyardy funk. I don't know if that's a contradiction of terms, but it's like the hay and the mud and the funkiness, but like a very bright grassy tone over the top of it. And there's something tart there? Something that actually tastes tart to me. You don't really think of whiskey as having any kind of acidic nature or, you know, really, really tart flavors. This one is. This one is. It's almost like a little bit of lime juice on the tip of your tongue. Weird. Oh my god, wait. Okay, I think I figured out another note. I think grapefruit. I think there's grapefruit in here. Holy, I don't know what this whiskey is, okay? Take these tasting notes with a grain of salt, because this is a weird Ardbeg. I like it. I like it. It's just very different from other Ardbegs I've had. And I don't know. I don't know if other people are going to like this. I don't even know what other people are going to get in terms of notes from this thing, because this thing is weird and funky and strange, and I didn't... A part of me was like, oh, well, whatever, the fermentation went long. I don't know how much effect that's going to have, because they had to distill it after, blah, blah, blah. You know, I was a little bit skeptical. However, holy shit, this is actually super weird. This is actually super different. This is not like other Ardbegs. There's also kind of a nuttiness on the finish. Kinda, what is that? Walnutty? A little bit of walnuts on the finish. Which is something I usually get with Oloroso sherry matured whiskeys. This right here is all ex-bourbon. So, interesting that I'm getting that note. So I gotta say, I think this stuff is kind of rad. It's very weird. It's got a lot of weird, subtle notes. And it's not the big, super smoky Ardbeg that I really like, but it's fun. It's fun to kind of figure this thing out and just smell it and taste it. That said, though, we need to talk about the price. Because the price is $200. And while I like this, while it is a lot of fun, I enjoy it, I enjoy drinking this, I don't know, I don't think it's worth $200. There are very few whiskeys that I've found that I'm over $100, $150 that I'm like, yes, that is something you need to buy. That is fantastic, it's awesome, you gotta get it. Is this good? Yeah. Is it interesting? Is it fun? Yeah. Do you need to get it? No. No. $200? I don't think this is worth $200. Now, if you got a buddy who has some, or if you can find some at a bar, yeah, this is cool. This is cool. Try some. Do a bottle split, you know, find somebody who's willing to do half the bottle with you. I don't know, something like that. But, yeah, $200 price tag, too heavy. Too heavy for this Ardbeg. I mean, I like it. Damn, though, that's a lot of money. So on the one hand, good on you, Ardbeg. You made a freaky, weird, cool whiskey. I'm definitely going to enjoy drinking this. That said, that price tag is ridiculous. Come on, guys, don't. I know everybody goes crazy and tries to snap up these committee releases. I get it. They're exclusive. They're fun. They're cool. I gotta say, though, $200, little too much for what you're getting. But this has been another Ardbeg review. Thank you all so much for joining in. Please, if you like the content, hit the like button, hit subscribe, comment about what you think your favorite committee release is from the old Ardbeg. And until next time, make sure to stay healthy, stay safe, and stay rotten. Cheers.